Hello students, in this video we are going to learn brachial plexus, very important topic of upper limb. So plexus means networks of nerves. So brachial plexus is the networks of nerves which supplies the upper limb. Now formation, it is formed by ventral rami of lower four cervical nerves and first thoracic nerves, that is C5, C6, C7, C8 and T1. So what is ventral rami? This is spinal cord, and from spinal cord this is ventral root, this is dorsal root. They join to form trunk, this one, and after this trunk it gives two branches. One is ventral branch or ventral rami, another is dorsal rami. So this is ventral rami and this is dorsal rami, and this ventral rami join to form this brachial plexus. These spinal nerves, they are also connected to sympathetic chain. So here this is sympathetic ganglion and it is connected to spinal nerve via this is white rami communicans and this is gray rami communicans. Now this brachial plexus is consist of roots, trunks, divisions and cords. Now the parts of brachial plexus, it is divided into two parts: cervical part or supraclavicular part and axillary part or infraclavicular part, depending upon its location. So this is brachial plexus. The part above the clavicle is cervical part, this one, and part below the clavicle is axillary part. The cervical part includes roots, trunks, divisions, and axillary part includes cords. So we'll see one by one. First is roots. So basically roots are 5 in number from C5 to T1, and it present between scalenus anterior and scalenus medius muscle. So this is the muscle. Anterior is scalenus anterior and posteriorly scalenus medius, and in between these two roots of brachial plexus is present, and it is constituted by joining of ventral rami of these nerves C5 to T1 with smaller contribution from ventral rami of C4 and T2. So these are the spinal segment C5 to T1, and from this these are the roots. So these are the spinal segment. It takes also contribution from C4 and T2. So these are the roots. The minor contribution, that is shown by the thin line, and this brachial plexus may be shifted to one segment above or one segment below, or upward shifting or downward shifting. If there is shifting of brachial plexus upwards, then it is known as prefixed. So in this condition C4 is large and T2 is absent. In postfixed condition there is a downward shift and T2 is large, which joins T1, and C4 is absent, and this shifting will understand next slide. So first one is prefixed and second one is postfixed. Just see what is the shifting, how the shifting takes place. So in prefixed there is upward shifting of brachial plexus like this, and in postfixed there is downward shifting of brachial plexus like this. So in prefixed condition C4 is large, T2 is absent, while in postfix condition T2 is large and C4 is absent. Now the trunks are 3 in number, upper, middle and lower. Upper trunk is formed by joining of C5 and C6 like this. So this blue one is upper trunk. Then middle trunk is just continuation of C7 like this. This is middle trunk. And lower trunk is formed by joining of C8 and T1 like this. So these are the upper, middle and lower trunks. Now the divisions. Each trunk divides into two divisions, ventral or anterior division and dorsal or posterior division. So it is like this. This is upper and this ventral and dorsal division of upper trunk. This is ventral and dorsal division of middle trunk, and this is upper ventral or dorsal division of lower trunk. Now the chords. So they are again 3 in number: lateral chord, medial chord and posterior chord, and their name is because of its location in relation to axillary artery. The chord which is lateral to the axillary artery is lateral chord, the chord which is medial to the axillary artery medial chord, and the chord posterior to axillary artery is posterior chord. The lateral chord is formed by joining of anterior division of upper and middle trunks like this. These are the anterior division of upper and middle trunk, and this green one is lateral chord. Medial chord is formed by just continuation of anterior division of lower trunk. So this is the continuation of anterior division of lower trunk, and this forms the medial chord. And the posterior chord is formed by joining of posterior division of all three trunks like this. These are posterior division which continue as a posterior chord. So this is lateral chord, this is medial chord, and this is posterior chord. Now the branches of brachial plexus. Firstly from the roots. So first branch is nerve to serratus anterior or long thoracic nerve, also called as nerve of Bell. Root value C5, C6, C7. So this is nerve to serratus anterior. Next branch is nerve to rhomboids or dorsal scapular nerve. Root value C5. So this is nerve to rhomboids. Then a branch to phrenic nerve. Root value C5. This one. And last branch is muscular branch to longus colli and scaleni muscles. And these are the muscles of back. So this is nerve to serratus anterior, this is nerve to rhomboids, this is branch to phrenic nerve. Now the branches from the trunk. The only upper trunk gives branches, and they are suprascapular nerve, root value C5, C6, this one, and nerve to subclavius, again root value same C5, C6. So this is nerve to subclavius. Now the branches from the chords. From the lateral chord, and to remember the branches from the lateral chord, mnemonic is LML. Lateral pectoral nerve, root value C5, C6, C7. So this is lateral pectoral nerve. Musculocutaneous nerve, again root value same C5, C6, C7. So this is musculocutaneous nerve. And lateral root of median nerve, root value C5, C6, C7. So this is lateral root of median. So this is lateral pectoral nerve, this is musculocutaneous nerve, and this is lateral root of median nerve. Now the branches from the medial cord pneumoni is M for U. Medial pectoral nerve, root value C8T1. So this is medial pectoral nerve. Then medial cutaneous nerve of arm. This is medial cutaneous nerve of arm, root value C8T1. Then medial cutaneous nerve of forearm, this one, root value C8T1. Then medial root of median nerve, root value C8T1. And then ulnar nerve, root value C7, C8 and T1. Now the branches from the posterior cord pneumoni is ulnar. Upper subscapular nerve, so this is upper subscapular nerve, root value C5, C6. Lower subscapular nerve, root value C5, C6. Nerve to latissimus dorsi or thoracodorsal nerve, root value C6, C7, C8. Axillary, this is axillary nerve, root value C5, C6. And the radial nerve C5, C6, C7, C8, T1. So these are the branches from the posterior cord. So this is the whole diagram of brachial plexus, and here you can see the median nerve, which is formed by the lateral root of median. This is lateral root of median and this is medial root of median. They join to form median nerve, and root value is C5, C6, C7, C8 and T1. So there are three nerves having all the roots value of brachial plexus, that is radial nerve and median nerve. This is the diagram in your books. I want to share this diagram so that you can understand whatever I have told you, that is the for your understanding. Now the other nerves supplying the upper limb, these are supraclavicular nerves, branches of the cervical plexus. So these are the supraclavicular nerve. These are the supraclavicular nerve which supplies the upper part of upper limb. Next nerve is intercostobrachial nerve. So this is intercostal brachial nerve, this one, and this supplies the axilla and upper part of medial side of arm. Now the sympathetic supply through brachial plexus. So this is the diagram showing the cervical vertebrae and sympathetic chain. This is sympathetic chain. In the cervical region, it forms three ganglions: superior cervical sympathetic ganglion, middle cervical ganglion, and this inferior cervical ganglion. And this brachial plexus takes contribution from this sympathetic chain, like this. Here you can see these are the branches C4, C5, C1, C2, C3, C4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and T1. So this is the brachial plexus. This is the brachial plexus, and it takes contribution from the, or it is attached to, this is sympathetic chain, and through this brachial plexus sympathetic nerves enters into the upper limb. As far as the brachial the sympathetic supply of upper limb is concerned, the T1 is mainly responsible for the sympathetic supply of upper limb. Now the applied aspect of brachial plexus. First is Erb's paralysis. So site of injury, if there is injury over the upper trunk, so this is the site, upper trunk, where 6 nerves meet. So 6 nerves are first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. So this is Erb's point, and the reason behind this injury, it may be because of undue separation of the head from shoulder. In birth injury, during delivery of baby, we pull the head, so it may damage the upper trunk, then fall on shoulder. Then during anesthesia, when we give brachial block, then it may injure the upper trunk. Now the nerve roots involved, mainly C5 and partly C6. So this is mainly this C5 is involved. Then nerves involved, musculocutaneous nerve. So this is musculocutaneous nerve. Then suprascapular nerve, axillary nerve. So this is axillary and this is radial, and this is suprascapular nerve. Now the muscles involved or paralyzed: biceps, deltoid, brachialis, brachioradialis, supraspinatus, infraspinatus and supinator. The musculocutaneous nerve supplies biceps and brachialis. So this is biceps muscle, and underneath biceps here brachialis muscle is there, and which is responsible for mainly flexion at elbow joint. Then deltoid, this is deltoid muscle, mainly responsible for abduction of the shoulder joint. Then brachioradialis, this is brachioradialis. Then supinator muscle, supraspinatus muscle, this is supraspinatus muscle, and this is infraspinatus muscle, supplied by this suprascapular nerve. And supinator muscle is present deep in the cubital fossa here. Now the deformity: arm hang by the side, adducted and medially rotated, and forearm extended and pronated. So this deformity is called as policeman's tip or porter's tip. So in this diagram we can see the patient's arm is hang by the side due to loss of abduction, then medially rotation and extended elbow. Here also you can see this is the involved hand or upper limb. Now disabilities: patient is unable to abduct and lateral rotation of the arm, and patient is unable to perform flexion and supination of forearm. Biceps and supinator jerks are lost. Sensation are lost over the small area of the lower part of the deltoid, and this is known as badge anesthesia. So this is the lateral aspect of the arm, and this is the loss of sensation because of the involvement of axillary nerve. And here policeman badge is present, like this here. That is why this type of anesthesia is called as badge anesthesia. Now Klumpke's paralysis, if there is involvement of lower trunk, the site of injury is lower trunk of brachial plexus, this one. Then cause of injury, it may be due to abduction of the arm, as in clutching something with the hands after fall from height. Then in case of birth injury, nerves roots involved, mainly T1 and partly C8. So this is T1 is mainly involved. The nerves involved, mainly ulnar nerve, this one. Muscles paralyzed, intrinsic muscles of the hand. The ulnar nerve mainly supplies the intrinsic muscles of the hand and the ulnar muscles of the wrist and finger. Now the deformity, claw hand. This is the diagram showing the claw hand, where there is hyperextension at metacarpophalangeal joint and flexion at interphalangeal joints. Disability, claw hand, and cutaneous anesthesia and analgesia in narrow zone along the ulnar border of forearm and hand, like this. This is the anterior view. This is the loss of sensation area. This is a posterior view. This is the sensation loss area. Then the Horner's syndrome, because of the involvement of sympathetic system, which is related with T1. The symptoms are features are ptosis, meiosis, anhidrosis, anophthalmos, and loss of ciliospinal reflex. Ptosis means drooping of eyelid, meiosis means constriction of pupil, anhidrosis means loss of sweating of affected side, anophthalmos means shrunken eyeball, and loss of ciliospinal reflex means normally if we pinch the posterior aspect of neck, then there will be constriction of the pupil. This is normal reflex and it is lost in case of Horner syndrome. So in case of ptosis, here you can see the upper eyelid is going down. This is known as ptosis. Then this is normal pupil, and here you can see there is constriction of pupil. This is known as meiosis. So this is the diagram showing the Horner syndrome, ptosis, meiosis, then anhidrosis, then anophthalmos, shrunken eyeball, and loss of ciliospinal reflex. Now injury to the nerve to serratus anterior, cause sudden pressure on shoulder from above or carrying heavy loads on shoulder. Nerve roots involved, C5, C6, C7, and nerve involved, that is nerve to serratus anterior. So this is nerve to serratus anterior. Deformity, that is winging of scapula. So this is the diagram showing there is undue prominence of medial border and inferior angle of scapula. So this is winging of scapula. And disability, patient is unable to perform pushing and punching movement, and loss of overhead abduction of the shoulder joint. Abduction of the shoulder above 90 degree is not possible in case of injury to nerve to serratus anterior. The injury to lateral cord, cause dislocation of humerus. This brachial plexus or cords, they are present anterior and medial to this shoulder joint. So whenever there is dislocation of humerus, there may be chance of injury to the cords. So First, there is injury to the lateral cord, roots involved, C5, C6, C7, nerves involved, musculocutaneous and lateral root of median. This is musculocutaneous, this is lateral root of median. Muscles paralyzed, biceps and coracobrachialis, which is supplied by musculocutaneous nerve, and all muscles supplied by median nerve except those of hands. So median nerve mainly supplies the muscles of forearm. Deformity and disability. So deformity is mid-prone forearm. Patient is unable to perform flexion of forearm. Then loss of flexion at wrist. Then loss of sensory supply of radial side of the forearm. So here is the sensory loss, radial side. This is posterior view. This is the sensory loss area. Now injury to the medial cord. Cause same, subcoracoid dislocation of humerus. Roots involved, C8, T1. Nerves involved, ulnar and median root of median. So this is ulnar and this is median root of median. Muscles paralyzed, muscles supplied by ulnar nerve, and 5 muscles of hand supplied by median nerve. So mainly ulnar nerve supplies the muscles of hand and medial side of the forearm. So deformity and disability, claw hand like this. Sensory loss on the ulnar side of the forearm and hand. This anterior view. So this is the sensory loss area. Posterior view. This is the sensory loss on posterior aspect. So there is a clumpless paralysis and this medial cord injury features is same except Horner syndrome. Okay, so this is all about brachial plexus. Thank you.